Welcome to Charundia. It's no longer Phuket, Thailand. It's changed. It's different now. It's called Charundia. What does Charundia mean? I'm going to go into a little more detail about what that means during this video. But it basically means China, Russia, India, and the Middle East. Formerly, Phuket, Thailand. It's no longer Phuket. It's not the Phuket I remember when I moved here about 4 years ago. So I'm making this video kind of with a heavy heart, a little bit sad, because I've always been up on living in Phuket as an expat or retiring here. It was absolutely pristine. It was perfect. It was heaven. It wasn't very crowded. And it was just the best place in the world to live as an expat or even retire to. But it's changed now. And I'm going to share with you 5 ways or 5 reasons why it's no longer a great place to move to retire or live as an expat. And I hope not to make this video too much on the down. At the end, if you're thinking about visiting Phuket for a few weeks or a few days, I'll share with you if I feel like it's still a great place to visit as a traveler or a tourist. So I'm going to exit the screen right now. I'm going to leave that video going. What's up, guys? And I'm going to pull up a chair and share with you these 5 ways or 5 reasons why Phuket is buckling. It's no longer, it's breaking. It's just not the same place it used to be. So I'm going to exit the screen, grab a chair, and sit down and have a conversation with you guys. Okay, got my chair. I'm going to sit down right there, give you Charundia Explained. What the heck is Charundia? Right now I'm in the backdrop of the popular Phuket Town Sunday Market, and you can see kind of a mix of the different type of tourist or traveler that is in Phuket right now. What do I mean by Charundia? It's this. If you look at the map backdrop right here, it's important to zoom in and show you just how tiny Phuket is. It's a tiny little landmass here. And then when you zoom back out in proportion to the rest of Asia, you have China here. In China right now, there's 1 million tourists that have already arrived in Phuket this year. And then we have Russia. Russia, in 2023, a 1,000% increase in arrivals compared to past years. A lot of that is due to the war. They're saying that number will only keep rising. And then if you hop over here to India and the Middle East, 25% of arrivals are from those countries. And that's only going to go up as they've added a lot more direct flight routes. What do we get at the end of all this? Charundia. It's no longer Phuket. It no longer feels like a local Thailand experience. So this is the number 1 way that Phuket is starting to buckle. And it's pretty evident if you go to the south of Phuket, where I used to live, down by Nai Harn Beach, where for the past 3 years it felt like a pretty local vibe. No longer. If you look around, look at the backdrop here, when you drive around the south of Phuket and much of the island now, you're going to see a lot of Russian signs that have replaced, in some cases, Thai businesses. So you almost get this, almost like a gentrification that's pushing local Thais out as the foreign arrivals come and they boost land values and everything else. So you see some of the same issues that you might see in cities around the world, where you get the gentrification, where money arrives and they push the locals out. So you're going to see a lot of this when you go around Phuket now. A lot of signs that are in Russian. The second way we see Phuket breaking is over-tourism. And let me read some headlines to you as I turn around here and read them on the screen. Phuket has become a luxurious new playground for rich Russians fleeing Vladimir Putin's war. But some locals aren't happy. New Moscow to Phuket route sees more Russian tourism. Thailand sees 60% rise in Indian tourists with new visa-free policy. Phuket named the world's most overcrowded tourist destination. Amazing, right? So now we have a place that, to me, doesn't really feel like Thailand. 1. 2, the world's most over-tourism destination. And then 3, what's it leading to? I think with Thai culture, if I had to describe, part of it is they're very patient, they're very tolerating. But what you're starting to see is the 3rd example of how Phuket is buckling or breaking, and that is social strain. You're starting to see a lot more conflict between local Thais and foreigners. So let's read some of these headlines. Berserk foreigner in Phuket assaults a man, steals a passenger van, and crashes it, causing disruption. French and Thai men injured after sword and knife fight in Coron, Phuket. New Zealanders attack Phuket traffic policeman. Thai doctor sues Swiss villa owner in Phuket for kicking her. Wow, right? In fact, I'm sometimes surprised that Thais can be as patient, as tolerant as they are when interacting with foreigners all the time, and some foreigners who happen to be not really pleasant at times. If I was a local working in Phuket, I would just be fatigued. And sometimes I feel that from the locals, where they just seem exhausted of dealing with all this over-tourism on a day in and day out basis. The fourth way that this area of Thailand is no longer attractive to live as an expat or retired to is this. There's too much traffic. It's one reason I drive a motorbike. It's not because I don't want to drive a car. I'd probably prefer to be driving a car. It's safer. But sometimes to go from one point to another on Phuket, say Phuket down to the south, Nai Hard Beach, that trip might take 30 minutes by motorbike. But if traffic's bad, it might take over 2 hours by car. I'm showing on the backdrop here just all the congestion that's going on the island. The infrastructure is just not set up to handle this many people. And with so much traffic, at times it feels like it's even worse than Bangkok. Wherever I live, one rule I do, I don't want to be in traffic. So that criteria alone is kind of a deal breaker for me. Let's read some of the headlines about the Phuket traffic problem. Phuket's traffic crisis. Over 500,000 vehicles clog the island's roads. Heavy traffic in Phuket forces travelers to allocate extra time. Crazy traffic, only going to get worse. Phuket going to be overrun. Phuket opinion, bracing for a decade of traffic woes. Now, the fifth way that Phuket is breaking or buckling has to do with Mother Nature. And let's take a look at the backdrop here. If you see this, it was a landslide. So if you look at the mountain here, at the very tip here, you can kind of see the popular Big Buddha. You can just kind of catch the tip of the head. Then, of course, you can see where there was a huge landslide. And that happened a couple weeks ago. And the reason that happened, because when they built Big Buddha, they did almost like a mini deforestation. They tore down all these trees, so it broke the mountain down, and that's why we had the landslide. And you can see where it came roaring down, and if you were in the way, those boulders had no remorse. They took you out, and 13 people died. So you can see where the landslide came down, and it absolutely demolished everything in its path. And I just want to zoom into this one house right here. Look at that car. It's just squashed like a tin can. And there's a motorbike right next to it. You can't see it. It's not even recognizable. This is what's going on in Phuket now. The way they are developing the island is also starting to kind of break. Not only did the landslide take out a lot, during the same storm, you can see what happened at a popular beach called Kata Beach. Due to the floods, and the floods keep getting worse and worse and worse in Phuket, but due to the floods, when this landslide happened, you can see at Kata Beach, where it just wiped out an entire parking area, and now it's just broken, so they're having to rebuild that road, and there's still question marks about some of the structures there. Mother Nature is, I think, saying, I've had enough. Let's read some of the headlines about what's going on with Phuket and the environment. Phuket landslides bury both luxury villas and rental houses. Death toll soars to 13. Parts of Phuket declared disaster zones after heavy floods and landslides. Hundreds of people suffering. Phuket's flooded by inadequate infrastructure amid rapid growth. Phuket's inadequate infrastructure development raises concerns. And this is why it's no longer Phuket. It's Chirundia. It's buckling socially, it's buckling environmentally. The infrastructure is not set up for all this growth and all these people. It's the reasons why this place is not attractive to retire to or live as an expat. I told you guys I was going to try to end this video on an up note, and that is, if you're planning to visit Phuket as a tourist or a traveler, is it still worth it? Let me throw up the backdrop here. Look at these beaches. Of course, it is still worth it. It's absolutely stunning. It's still some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. So absolutely, it's still a good idea to come visit, as long as you plan your trip best, and there's ways to avoid traffic, and there's better parts of the island to stay than others. And if you kind of have that insider information, of course it's still a good place to come visit. It has some of the best food in Thailand. Still has some of the better air quality in Thailand compared to somewhere like Chiang Mai during the burning season. There's all these beautiful islands nearby to explore. It still has some nice nature spots to explore. And there's still some kind of local vibes if you come to parts of Phuket Old Town. So yes, it's still worth it. What are your thoughts about the state of Phuket today in 2024? What's going to happen? What does the future hold for the next 10 years? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And for my plan for the next 6 months, I'm planning to leave Phuket as soon as my lease on my condo is up. I'm going to move to what I call like a tier 3 place in Thailand. I'm going to show a little map of what I mean by tier 3. You know, tier 1 obviously is like Bangkok and Chiang Mai and Phuket, Pattaya. Then you have tier 2, like a Koh Samui. But I'm looking at somewhere more local. I want to really be immersed in local Thai culture. So for the next few videos, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be exploring more of Thailand, sharing with you what my thoughts are about different places to live in Thailand as an expat or to retire to. And for now, I'll be here for a little bit longer. I'm going to enjoy Cherundia. To me, it's no longer the Phuket I remember 4 years ago when it was almost like heaven. We were so pristine and there were just no people here. I know we'll never get that back unless there's another pandemic. What about you guys? What about you who are living more in kind of a tier 3, tier 4 area of Thailand? Do you have a place you really love that you could share or you would recommend? That's it for this video. I will see you guys on the next one.